Hello, hello. I am continuing with this box of Muppet eyeballs this afternoon, and then tidying up some bits and pieces. Probably do another couple of letters on the floor here. Let's see how far I get. But anyway, the idea is to finish this box of eyes right now. Hoping my audio levels are okay when it comes to my voice and the voice of the music. This is Yasuaki Shimizu, who is one of my faves. Him and Yuji Toriyama really like their kind of slightly jazzy progressive pop. Would be progressive pop, I suppose. What layer is this? No, it's not that, is it? Oh, it is. Okay, great. Perfect. Alright, let's get on with it. I've got my Easter egg Kermit eyes here. I'm not going to do my impression of Kermit. I tried that last night and it was an absolute disaster. Should I let people know I'm streaming? I feel like I should maybe put something on Instagram, but I don't know. Maybe not right now. I've just started, so had I put a little bit more thought into this, maybe I'd have done it just before I started. I'm just learning, learning how to stream. I was watching a YouTube video by Scott Manley just before coming online. He was explaining the Artemis 2 mission, which is coming up shortly. It'll be the first time NASA has sent, well, it's not the first time NASA has sent people around the moon, but it's the first time this century that they've sent them to the moon, as in since what was the last moon mission? 1971, 2? Early 70s? Anyway, certainly the first time in a couple of generations. They're not landing on the moon, they're going around it. It's sort of a pre landing mission, which will happen next, Artemis 3. Still pretty exciting though, people going around the moon. I'm going to bring up my eye reference. I hope this music is everybody's taste, and you know what, even if it isn't, I don't care. I like it. Just once again to show everybody that's interested, this is my eyeball reference. I'm just mainly they're not hard to draw, I'm just mainly looking at sort of variations. Sort of spurs me on to use my own imagination. Want to get those Muppet eyes looking Muppety, not just like a big box of actual eyeballs. And yes, I'm experimenting with just chatting even if nobody's there, because it means both on the VOD and also if people walk in, it's not just silence. It does feel very strange to be talking to nobody in particular, but I figure it's probably the better way to go about it. Another thing I was wondering, is the sound of my computer fan super annoying? Because if it is, I might move the microphone's position a little bit. Because right now I have it right in front of me, but my computer is right behind it, so I think it does pick up fan noise. At some point I will stop talking about all the various technical aspects of streaming. I wonder how it feels to be, sort of to know that you're about to go around the moon. I suppose if you're an astronaut, you've done so much extreme stuff already, because most of them are, I mean, apart from the ones that are scientists rather, most astronauts are sort of former military, aren't they? sort of Air Force or Navy pilots, they've already been through quite a lot of rather extreme situations, but I guess nothing compares to actually going around a moon. I wonder if, because obviously Bezos has his own space, what's it called? Space flight thing. And what's the other one? What's the other one that offers commercial space flights? The Virgin Atlantic one. Isn't there also... Doesn't SpaceX do anything like that? No, I don't think it does it? It just does government contract type stuff. Financial, like, stuff. Because my question is, when is Elon Musk going into space, and can he stay there? And also, when's Mark Zuckerberg going to space? I'm assuming both of them want to go to space, unless they've already been under a real cover of anonymity or darkness or something. I mean, all those guys can afford it, let's face it. Maybe they just don't fancy it. If I had the money, would I go to space? Yes. Now, whether I'd enjoy it is another matter, but I would still go purely because, I mean, why wouldn't you? The danger, the discomfort. Okay, fair enough, good points. But I don't think I could say I could turn down that sort of an opportunity, even with that in mind. And I hate roller coasters and stuff like that. I'm really, I get motion sickness so easy, so it could be awful. But I just couldn't turn down the opportunity to go into space. If it was a guarantee of, say, going into space with the guarantee of nothing going wrong, then yeah, I wouldn't even second question it. Oh, and obviously it being free to go, because I can't afford that sort of stuff. I am extremely poor. What happens if you're on one of these sort of private space flights like Blue Origin, and the minute you take off you really need to go to the bathroom? I suppose, what, do they give you nappies or something? That's one of the big things that they're talking about. Well, in the video I watched about Artemis 2, this one that's going to go around the Earth. Well, it will go around the Earth, but also more specifically and more importantly around the Moon. It has a toilet. It's the first space capsule that's going around the Moon that has a toilet. So all those Apollo astronauts had to shit in a bag. Just think about that. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, the other guy. I always feel bad because I can never remember the third guy's name in the first Apollo moon landing mission. Anyway, they all were shitting in bags. How long was Yuri Gagarin in space? And was he also shitting in a bag? I'm assuming he was. Become an astronaut, shit in a bag, whilst eating paste. By the way, none of these are criticisms of the astronauts. You know, hats off to them. But obviously, the shitting in the bag was too much, even for the astronauts. They've become wimps. So yeah, there's the first space commode is happening. Moon commode. Oh, sorry, that was a bit loud. This track is mental. To those watching this on YouTube VOD, do yourself a favour and Google that last track, because it is a little wild. Well, depending on what your definition of wild is, but it's kind of a fun one. Eyeballs, eyeballs. Apparently, from what I remember, Kermit the Frog's the first puppet that I always blanking on his name. The first puppet that, not Frank Oz, but I always remember Frank Oz's name, but I'm always blanking on, oh dear, Kermit's puppeteer. Jim Henson, there you go. It always takes me a while to remember his name. Anyway, so when I was listening to a documentary, or even just an interview with Jim Henson, he was saying how Kermit's eyes on the first couple of puppets were just ping pong balls. On a sock. I think maybe, oh excuse me, as the show progressed, they did start actually making slightly more bespoke eyes. Although I could be wrong, maybe they were using ping pong balls right to the end. You know, if it ain't broke. If it ain't broke. Bit of a gap here, that needs an eyeball there, I think, without obscuring the glasses pair too much. Let's get rid of that line. This is like pure Yasuaki Shimizu. It's almost sort of scar in flavour, but not quite. Scar infused. You know, I suppose it is actually just scar, isn't it, really? Feels a bit better. That was a sample. I didn't play that on purpose. Yasuyaki Shimizu trolling me there with samples from the Third Reich. Thanks very much. Don't like that. Do I need to skip this track? Maybe. He's not a Nazi, but this might just be a little bit skip. Might just be a little edgy. In not the right way. I'd be like, Mr. Yasuaki, I can just about handle one slight sample from the Third Reich if you're doing it for like some edginess, but I don't know if I need to hear more than one. What is it about this? Why don't I... Certainly some elements of Oingo Boingo in this as well. Oh, Oingo Boingo, you ask? Oh, well, you know, it's just a little band that the famous film composer, oh my god, I'm blanking on his name now. Same guy that did the music for The Simpsons. The Simpsons theme tune guy. I'm really bad at retaining names, so I shouldn't really play these games. It's like I'm trying to show off I know stuff, but then I can't actually remember the bloody terms, names, whatever. I'm pretty good at languages, but when it comes to names, I really struggle. Oh, again, speaking of languages, I remember the verb straight after finishing the stream yesterday. The Japanese word for walk, to walk, is arukimasu. Can't believe I forgot arukimasu. It's like one of the first ones you learn. Embarrassing, really. And in Japanese grammar, you would say you walk the bridge, so it's not like I go over the bridge or I walk over the bridge. You say you walk the bridge, so you say hashi o aruite? Yeah, hashi o aruite, I think. I believe that's right, but prove me wrong. Usual thing where I'm spending too much time on a detail you wouldn't even notice. Look, the size of the whole image is this, right? I might actually make that door... No, I'm going to add some details around the door, so I'll leave the door as is. But anyway, the image is this big, so I just need to make sure that I'm not spending so much time on the minutiae of this bit. I find it very hard sometimes not to really get stuck into it, and it'd be totally not worth it because nobody can see it. Anyway, I think that's enough for that side. Is this music anxiety inducing? Okay, look, I'll move on to the next album. Maybe this is a particularly... I'll play this. This is a slightly more chill album of his that came out a couple of years later. Called Kakashi. And it's a little more chilled out. This is actually one of the first albums I heard of his. Instant fan. He's also been a session musician on loads of albums I really enjoy. Lots of YMO and like solo projects of both Haruomi Hosono and Ryuichi Sakamoto. Maybe even Yukihiro Takahashi. Oh man, come on, I have to remember the composer of the Simpsons soundtrack. He also did, didn't he also do the music for loads of big films? He's an Oscar winner, I'm pretty sure. He's definitely an Oscar winner. Anyway, him and his brother were in Oingo Boingo, I think. Yeah, they were, I'm pretty sure they were. let's mirror this. I think maybe we do a couple more eyeballs on the edge. Yeah, a couple more eyeballs here and here. So one eyeball here, so this doesn't look quite so much like it's floating. Have to account for all the volumes, you know, all these eyeballs. Volumes. They kind of have to have a little bit, at least a little bit of a believable volume to them. Again, spending probably far too much on the minutiae here, but whatever. This isn't a commercial project, this is for me. To make it look good. Take however long I like. Does that work? Sort of. I believe. Is this one actually called Kakashi? It's one of my favourites of his. Quite dubbish. My light source is flickering, I'm not quite sure why. Is that the bulb dying? Just save my work just in case it's a power thing, as in like power outage. I noticed at the top of our street they've got some roadworks to do with the power supply happening, so who knows, my health system might just cut out at some point. So I need to be on a save every 3 minutes routine. Oi, 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 oi. I was thinking about streaming tomorrow, but actually I might not, because I've got the whole day free, sort of, and we've got some DIY to do in the house, pressing DIY. So I think I'm going to be DIYing instead of drawing. Manual labour, as in these manuals. Okay, I'm going to do a few more eyes on the other side of this post. Come back to that side. Actually, you know what? Let's make that line more like this. Oh, this might be another anxiety-inducing one, so let me move it on. I like this stuff, but I know that it can be a little bit annoying for some people. Much like hot chip, I value repetition. Especially when I need to get myself into a zone. I find highly repetitive music, well, within reason, music with an element of repetition in it, I find it really helps. It's almost meditative, isn't it? I suppose that's why meditation is so repetitive, like all the chants. unnecessary. I'm going to put on more of a dancey album next because I need to raise my energy levels. I've been streaming for 53 minutes. 53? And I feel like I'm crashing already. Really, has it been 53 minutes? Goodness, hasn't felt like it. How time flies when you're drawing ibs. So this is Floating Points' newest album, 2024. Has something else come out since then? Was it even 2025? I can't remember actually. But is one of his more accessible dancey albums, and I do enjoy listening to it, and it certainly helps with keeping me awake. Again, apologies to YouTube VOD watchers because there will be no audio, there will be no music. You'll just have to Google it if you're interested. Just Google it. Oh, it must have been 2024 that it came out. This album, I'm pretty sure it was 2024. I could find out right now. 2024, yeah. Yep, 2024, yep. Yep, 2024, yep, yep. Need to maybe put a couple more of this with more oblong eyes in there. Also, these are all looking very similar in size. Make this one a bit bigger. You don't want it looking too uniform. Suspiciously uniform. Maybe I'll make this one more of an oblongish eye style. There's my reference material. Okay. Needs to be just a little bit round. It's like a very round egg shape. I was originally doing this in rough, but I'm doing such a tight rough. Half of me's wondering if, I mean, I may have to do a bit of clean up here and there, especially with some of the stuff I started off with, like this press, which is a bit more of my rough style, but as I kept drawing, I got tighter and tighter to the point now where I'm actually pretty much, like, I mean, maybe one pass of cleanup, but I don't think it's going to take much more than that. So, and then once I've put shading and colouring, yeah, I don't think I want to need to do too much. I don't think cleanup of this is going to take particularly long, because I am working. This is always my thing, is that I start off really rough, and I'm sure other people who draw get what I mean here. But I always start off, my intention is always to start off nice and rough and loose, and then do a clean-up stage, maybe one or two passes afterwards. Never happens. I always end up just drawing really tight right away. So I suppose, although it means, yep, I'm slower at getting to that, to drawing the whole image, then my cleanup doesn't take too long. Obviously, that is not an issue when it comes to solo projects, because you're not having to check up with anybody else but yourself. Obviously, much different when you are working in a team, because people need work, they need whips, they need roughs quick, so they can approve or tell you what works and what doesn't work. So yeah, it can be, sometimes it can really bite you in the bum being really tight right away. But you know what, as I'm doing this for myself, passion project or promo piece, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same, then yeah, I'm just going to work tight. Tight. I'm going to draw pupils on these in a second. I just want to nail down the shapes first without it being too fussy. I think we can do like a couple more details in there. It's looking alright though, that box of eyeballs. I think what I might do is mask off that blue, hold on, I don't do this for you very often. Is this working this for you? If I show my finger, oh no, not really. There's a blue line here, it's the back of the box. I'm going to mask that off, and then I think I'll get a better idea of a silhouette. Just that bit. Could have just shown you like this, couldn't I? Yeah, I'll mask that off so I can just see if this silhouette looks good or not. But before I do that, I'm going to finish up this bit. I really do like Floating Points. His album from 2022 or 21 that he did with Pharaoh, what's he called? Oh, very famous spiritual jazz trumpeter, saxophonist, singer. Oh, it hasn't come up. Pharaoh. How do you spell Pharaoh? F-P-H. Pharaoh. No? How do you spell Pharaoh? Oh, there we go. Pharaoh Sanders. Yeah. He did an album with Pharaoh Sanders in 2021, called Promises, and that is one of my favourite albums of this century. It's definitely my top 5 albums, top 10, top 5. It's an amazing album. It's much more of a kind of, it's a mix of contemporary classical jazz. I guess you could call it modern prog jazz, or I don't know. It's sort of a genre unto itself a little bit, but yeah, really nice. I won't play it because it's like the whole album is sort of like movements that make up a whole, and also it's something that I have to kind of actively listen to, so I won't put it on. can search it out yourselves. Pharaoh Sanders, Floating Points, Promises, 2021. Very different to this. Although, you know, definitely a recognisable Floating Points album too. So, while very different to this, still has the bones of a Floating Point album. Oh, YouTube, I feel really bad that I keep talking about the music I'm listening to and you can't hear it. What can I recommend? I can only recommend really either you listen to stuff I'm talking about or watch on Twitch. I do put the VODs on Twitch, but because I'm not paying any kind of membership fee, my videos only last for a week, and they're also 720p, which is really rubbish when you're watching an art stream. So that's why I put the videos on YouTube, because I can upload full res and they're on there forever. Well, as long as YouTube decides they're up there for, which ostensibly is forever. But it does mean I'd have to take the music out because YouTube is much stricter on their music copyright striking, which is you know, fair enough. I mean, I'm not making any money out of this, and I'm talking over the music too, but you know, I understand that it's something which could be exploited and is exploited on YouTube for sure. Got some Giorgio Moroder stuff going on now. Georgia. My name is Georgia. That's how he says it on that Daft Punk album. Georgia. They do like a tribute track to him on Random Access Memories, if I remember correctly. And he does a little monologue at the beginning. Now, can somebody tell me, are there any sort of music heads out there? Is this a saw wave, or a square wave, or the other one? If I had to guess, I'd say this is a saw wave? Is it? Or is it a square wave but with effects on it? I can't tell. I'm not enough of a music person to know, sound person to know. Oh, for heaven's sake. You know what? I'm just going to redraw this. Mirror. Oh, actually, I don't mind it like that. Yeah, just keep it like that. There we go. Alright, I'm going to mask off that line the rear line of this box because I want to see. Actually, I might even. Do I mask it or do I just delete it? No, I'm going to mask it. Let me just copy this. I'm going to put it on a separate layer. IBS. Copy paste. Paste in place rather. There we go. Lock. Turn off. Actually no, leave it on. And then let's do a little mask on that. Okay, so another layer. Quick mask. Quick mask. But I will only do this to see what it looks like because masks are a bit funny in Toon Boom sometimes when exporting. Or is that just for Swifts? Maybe that's just for Swifts, not PNG exports. Quick mask. So if I do... No, let's do the... Hold on. Oh my god. It's been so long since I've done a mask like this. There we go. Let's pick out some other colour. You know what, I want to make a new mask colour, make it quite vibrant. Mask 01 colour. Thank you. Yep. That way I know it's a mask. Let's make that slightly smaller. This is just so I can see what the silhouette of the eyeballs looks like, whether it works and looks like it has volume in the box. Yellow. Anywhere else? Yes. Okay, I'm going to do, from what I remember, in Toon Boom, I go to layer properties, I go to advanced, and I do, wait no, drawing, invert matte, close, and then I apply it to this layer, matte, drop that in, haha, not invert, the opposite of invert. Sorry about that. Wait. Oh. Hold on. Layer properties. Yeah. Mask. Okay. Oh wait, do I need to apply it on this? Hold on. I might be doing it on the wrong layer. There we go. Okay, fine. Okay, let's see. Does that silhouette work? I feel like it needs a little bit more behind some of these eyeballs, doesn't it? Can we turn that off? Leave it on, leave it on. Yeah, that's the right pencil. These just have a bit more of a pile up. Oh, of course, I forgot I'd put this on a separate layer. Unlock. What's going on? Hmm? Have I drawn us in the wrong layer? What's going on here? Oh my god, what an amateur. Right, back to this. Here we go. Doing it right now. No, those are too close together. It needs to be more like. It needs to be more like that. Maybe that does. Maybe it needs to be more like this. This is exactly what I had before, isn't it? How long have I been streaming for? Oh, 20. I'm going to stream for a tiny bit longer. Leave it like that. Yeah, I don't know, there feels like there needs to be something more here. Nothing huge, just a bit more. Taking up space. Needs to be a little bit smaller. So that's about right. Maybe another eye here. Roughly the same size. can actually probably get removed so the people can look somewhere else. Okay. Again, I'm sure also, as well as the line work, once I've introduced a bit of shading, that will also give this a bit more depth and volume. I'm sure this won't be the last time I'll be tweaking this box of eyeballs. I can tell you right now, this will not be the last time I tweak this box of eyeballs. I've got a box. Let's get that banned. Very nice. It's very nice of them to drop by. So I could give them a ban, gives me something to do. No. If anything, make this bigger. There you go. All right. Okay, I think that's enough of that for now. Can't stop tweaking. I will leave it because I'm going to take a look at it in a bit, and I can be, a little bit more objective. Somehow I don't like, that doesn't seem believable to me. Maybe if I move this over here. And then do this is, I think, my favourite on the album. Yeah, I think this is my favourite on the album. Alright, yeah, that works better. Just need to do some pupils on these ones at the back, and then I'm going to call it a day, because it is, 16:30 am. I have stuff to do. I was going to do some letters here, but I've run out of time. I mean, I quite like the way those eyeballs look, so that's fine. What I might actually do is that, and just make them ever slightly bigger. There we go. I think that works better. This is technically cheating, but you know what? I don't care. Why is it cheating, you say? Well, it's because I kind of want everything to be drawn rather than mucked around with by tweaking and so forth, but man, screw that. Pardon my French. I get to decide what's cheating. Me. Alright, let's do some pupils. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Bring up my reference. Yeah, I'm going to make some of these pupils a little more oblongish than roundish. Not too oblong, like so ever so slightly oblongish. Oblongated. Ooh, this is roughly when this track starts to really kick in. Again, do yourself a favour if you're watching this on YouTube and give this track a listen if you don't know it, because it is really, really good. I really like it. It's a long one, 6 to 8 minutes long, possibly longer, maybe even 10 minutes long. but it is quite the journey. And very much that floating point's sensibility to it. No, that's too samey. Let's leave that one white actually. I'll decide later if any more of those need pupils. Alright, actually this one probably does need a pupil. Okay, I'm gonna stay online as long as this track lasts because it's not much longer. And I can't just leave halfway through this track playing. That'd be so sad. Okay, well what I can do is adjust this mask, turn that off, because it is inaccurate now. Okay. Put that mask back in there, there we go. Alright, well there we go. Oh, perfect timing. Stop the music! Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching. I think next time I come online, which will probably be next week, we'll see. Tuesday I've got something on, so Monday I might be prepping for that, so I think if I come online next, it'll either be the weekend, which is unlikely, or it'll be Wednesday possibly next week, or in the evening, but probably Wednesday next week. So yeah, and I will probably do something here next. Something with more letters, or not. Maybe I'll do something a bit more ambitious with filling up this, also doing the rest of the room. I need to think about what the end game for this is so that I can start moving into the animation stage. I think it's going to be prioritising. Where's my notes? There's my notes. If I say, yeah, I can use this colour for notes too, why not? So yeah, I think I'm going to prioritise 1, then 2, and then yeah, here 3 being the background, like tidying up the door and just generally doing a bit more detail here, but not too much. And then finally 4, doing the door, around the door frame just a little bit. Just enough to make it seem like a thing. Wondering if I need to keep this curvature in or not. I've got like a tiny bit of a curve here. I either get rid of the curve or I tidy it up. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and save this as day 35. 35? Save, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Thank you for watching. Sorry about chatting about all the music. Bye.